It's so windy and there are ominous clouds over Aldi. We're gonna go inside, guys, and we're gonna see what the prices are like. Yes, it's true. Aldi may no longer be the cheapest place in town. We're going to tell you the most recent news from Aldi in case you haven't heard it. We just took a trip to Aldi. We're going to tell you what we saw, and then we're going to give you some tips and ideas and strategies on how you can stretch your food dollar.
Hi, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where a couple times each week we talk about frugal lifestyles.
All right, so all of us in the frugal world for like decades, we have relied on Aldi to be like our ace in the hole, right? Tell me in the comment section whether you agree with me. It's always been that place where we know that we could go and find good quality food at reasonable prices, and they have notoriously been the cheapest place in town for a really long time. But that perhaps is not the case any longer. So we have a news article that just came out this week. We're going to link, by the way, the original link to the article in the description of this video, so you can go and you can head over there if you want and read the article yourself. We're going to synopsize it for you, all right? So here's what they said. They said, due to sharply increased costs, Germany's largest discount chain, Aldi, increased prices again on Monday, with meat, sausage, and butter all to be significantly more expensive, according to Aldi. That was from Florian Schulbeck, the head of communications from Aldi Nord.
And according to the chain, the reason behind the higher prices is that Aldi has to pay its suppliers more.
Okay, so we all know since the start of the Ukraine war, we have seen these price jumps. It's also due to the fact that that they're having to pay more for actually having the food grown. So since the growers are paying more for fertilizer, things like that, they're passing on those costs to the supplier, which in this case is Aldi, who is also passing those supply costs on to us.
And the prices will vary depending on the product. Now, as you'll see coming up in this video, we did a little survey of the prices, and we found that some prices had gone up sharply, while others have not been affected that much.
Now, here's what they said directly from Aldi, that the price increases will vary according to the product, but more price increases expected in the future. Pay attention to that. So they are just now increasing prices between 20 and 50% on a lot of the products in the store. And that's on top of the fact that they just did a price increase a few weeks ago on 160 of their products. Tell us, have you noticed these sharp price increases at Aldi recently? I will tell you the truth. So we just got the Aldi ad, and I looked at, they have the super savers. Those are those items that are like discounted. Like in the past, it's been you can get fruit, things like that. If it's featured in the super savers, then it's going to be like almost 50% less than the cost that would be normally. When I saw the prices, I thought for sure. In fact, I said to Larry, I said, oh, this must be a misprint. They put these products in this super saver section, and these aren't super saver prices. Well, you know what? They actually were the discounted prices, but that's how much they jumped that I honestly thought a mistake had been made.
Also, large retailers like Walmart and Aldi's are limiting some quantities of products.
Now, Larry was in Aldi last week. He was right behind a gentleman that had like a whopping cart full of stuff.
Chicken breasts.
And they told him, you can't buy that many packages.
Yeah, they were limiting him to 4 packages of chicken breasts. And I think he had quite a few. I think he had about 12, so they put quite a few back.
So tell us in the comments section, are you seeing limits on the number of items that can be bought at your local grocery stores? Interestingly, the last thing that it said in the article was that other retailers are following suit, and Aldi jumped their prices. They were the first ones to say, yeah, we're going to raise our prices this much, and everybody else is following suit. So what did we find at our Aldi? We grabbed the GoPro and we took you on a shopping trip with us. Let's take a look. 98 cents, guys. It was 75 cents last week. We still like our Aldi saltines, but we may be eating fewer of them. Dry roasted peanuts, they have not gone up. $1.95 still. Isn't that $1.25 last week?
Oh my gosh. That has really gone up.
Yeah, $1.25 last week.
Oh yeah.
My beloved salsa, still the same price, $1.55. I'm happy.
You getting some?
Yes,
Get
absolutely. Grapes, $1.29 a pound, just for the green grapes. Guys, you're gonna have to pay attention to what's on sale and stock up only on items that are on sale. Addendum on the grapes. So a lot of these grapes not looking so good, guys. So at Aldi, if you don't find what you want on the top, just move the box out of the way and then go to the next level and see if you can't find some that are in better shape. The balsamic vinegar, $2.15. It's gone up a little bit, but it's going home with us, guys. 6 months ago, canned tomatoes were 50 cents, 69 cents now. Just plain old tomatoes, nothing added to them, just diced tomatoes. Once again, these were about $2.99 probably 6 months ago. Aldi potatoes gone up to $4.29. Tell us in the comments section, what are some of these things looking like at your Aldi? So, was that successful?
I think so.
I think I'm lowering my expectations though. All right, it's time for us to give you some tips and strategies to help you stretch your food dollar. The truth is that when Larry and I saw that news from Aldi come up, we just basically shoved everything else that was already on the production schedule for the videos, and we shoved it off to one side because we knew we really, really wanted to lean in this moment and give you guys some ideas as to how you can save some money at the grocery store. So let's get started with tip number 1, eat more real food.
The first thing on that list, of course, in real food is you want to avoid processed foods. Processed foods are very expensive. After all, they've been processed, and there's high charges for that kind of a service. The other thing is they're really not quite as good for you. They don't fill you up. They don't last as long in your system as a food that you make from scratch. So they're certainly better to eat real food.
Tip number 2, buy the basics. Focus on buying the basics when you go to the grocery store. Now, by basic, we mean those fundamental building blocks that occur over and over and over again in recipes that you may make.
Most of the time, those are going to be single ingredient foods, and they are very versatile.
Now, something else we want to just interject in here, and we're really interested to hear in the comments section what you think. So this is like a sort of our prediction for this summer. We predict that as grocery prices continue to rise, that you're going to see a resurgence in things like farmers markets, roadside stands, places where you can go direct to the person who has grown your food rather than going through a second or third party in order to buy your food. But I really think that small local farmers, especially if they're very diverse in what they grow, I think that they are going to maybe be the place to go in order to purchase food for your family this summer at really great prices. So tell me what you think.
Yeah, we're hoping that those prices won't be quite as high as what's being impacted in the stores, because obviously we're not talking about a lot of transportation costs on an item that's grown locally. Still, their costs are up, and they're going to have to charge more in order to cover what they're having to do to produce food.
And of course, another great way to do it is just produce your own food. Grow things in containers if you've no other place to do it. Certainly has some items growing in your backyard that you can eat.
The next tip is buy in bulk while you can. Now, we're suggesting that now is a good time to buy in bulk. You know, every time we go to the store, I tell Hope, this is the lowest price right now that we're going to pay for this food. So if you buy in bulk, that will put a little hedge against rising prices, because as long as that food lasts in your pantry and in your stores, that will be the last price that you paid for it.
In case you've kind of followed our bulk buy videos, it's been since November since we've been down to Amish country to do a bulk buy, and we are headed out there again, guys. In the next 3-4 weeks, we're going to head back out there, so we'll make sure that we let you know what has happened to the price of bulk food and staple items. So we'll make sure we do a video.
If you don't have Amish stores in your area, there are other good sources for buying bulk food, such as Sam's, Costco, and Gordon Food Service,
which is GFS, and that is a Midwest chain.
The next tip is we want to ration our expensive foods. Now, if we're trying to be frugal, what do we mean by expensive foods?
Well, there are certain categories of food that have gone up astronomically. Meat being definitely the one that's all the way at the top of the list. Now, we looked at a variety of meats and took some photos of some of the prices for you while we were at Aldi. But once again, remember, we haven't bought meat in 10 years. So I don't know exactly what these prices represent, whether they are an incredible increase in prices or whether this is about the same if you've been accustomed to paying. But what I did notice is it was quite expensive. And had we been meat consumers, it would have made us think twice or 3 times before we picked up that 3-pound chub of hamburger and put it into our grocery cart. So here are some ideas when it comes to items that you're going to use that have gone up astronomically in price. Use less of it. You can find a multitude of ways to stretch that pound of ground beef without adding a whole pound of ground beef to any recipe that you are making.
You know, you can stretch meat by mixing some rice, barley, or lentils in it. And we've had several of you comment that you do that with your meat. The other thing is to go meatless. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go all the way here. Maybe just go meatless a couple days a week. And if that works out okay, maybe extend that. It all depends on how much you're willing to pay, how much you can afford on the meat palette.
Now remember, these tips and strategies we're giving you, these are designed to help you stretch your grocery budget and stretch the food when you do get it home from the grocery store. Hey, if you're finding these helpful, do us a super big favor. Give this video a thumbs up, will you?
And if you like what you see on our channel, subscribe. The next tip would be learn to substitute.
Now, if you don't have something in stock, it behooves you to be aware of what you have in your pantry, in your freezer, and your perishable food section of your refrigerator, because there may very well be some items in there that you can substitute items that appear in recipes. Y'all know that in my house, recipes are known as suggestions because we notoriously substitute other things that we have on hand. But the truth is, by staying out of the grocery store, you will automatically spend less money on food every single week. And lest the vegans think that I'm not going to pick on you, all right? So I told the meat eaters to eat less meat. I'm going to tell you too that if you are buying these fancy boxes of vegan burgers, vegan chicken, vegan meatballs, that those are incredibly expensive. It is so very, very easy to make a bulk lot of those things from scratch. They cost you pennies on the dollar of what you would spend on that same item in the grocery store. And nearly everything that I have made freezes really, really well. So think about making things from scratch. And in fact, that is our next suggestion.
Yeah, Hope literally can make some of these entrees for pennies on the dollar. And they are so good. In fact, our family raves over her lentil burgers, her black bean burgers, and so on. So good. In terms of cooking from scratch, you want to do the math. Figure out the amount of ingredients that you need, what the cost is going to be for each entree, and you'll find it so much cheaper to cook from scratch. Let me give you one example. We were pricing the tortillas over at Aldi's, and the tortillas that we found, these are the soft flour, they're kind of big, round tortillas, $1.55 for 17.5 ounce package. And Hope can bake those for how much?
4 cents each.
4 cents.
Now, I think there's like 10 or 12 of those tortillas in that package from Aldi's. And so at 4 cents each, you're talking about 45, 50 cents for the exact same amount of tortillas, and I'm making them from scratch.
And Hope's are thicker than these are. These are real thin, and Hope's are about 5 times the thickness of these tortillas. Another example of cooking from scratch, we love to have pancakes on Sunday nights. Well, we were out of the pancake mix. So Hope put together a mix. She went online, found a recipe for them, and within about 10 minutes, she had a mix all put together, and we had the best pancakes I've ever had.
5 ingredients, guys. 5 ingredients, 5 minutes.
Super. Figure out how many meals you're going to get out of the particular ingredients that you have.
Like that 1 pound of ground beef. How many meals, how many people are you really going to be able to feed from that 1 pound of ground beef? You're going to pay, what, $4 or $5 for a pound of ground beef? Well, we showed you the potatoes in Aldi's, and although I kind of beefed, so to speak, about the cost of those potatoes being over $4, the truth is 10 pounds of potatoes will feed our family for a really, really long time. I can feed a multitude. I could have a crowd over after church on Sunday and feed them from that 1 10-pound bag of potatoes. So what I want you to do is think before you put something in a shopping cart, how many servings is this? How many recipes will this make? How many people will this feed? And is it worth what I am paying for that?
Get to know websites that promote inexpensive recipes.
Now, I've got 3 of them for you. These are 3 of my favorites, and they are actually little known websites. You ready? Here we go. You won't need to write them down. I'll make sure I leave a link for each of these in the description of the video.
The first website is Eat Smart, Spend Smart, and that is curated by the Iowa State University. It covers planning, shopping, and cooking. It has 8 categories of recipes, and it's a lot of helpful information for you.
All right, the second one is the USDA recipe collection. Who knew that the USDA had a recipe collection? Tell me if you knew that in the comments section, because I didn't until I started looking for great recipes that didn't cost a lot of money. This is curated by the USDA, strangely enough. It's a collection of 28 free ebooks. Yeah, they cover every style of cooking. This is what I liked. They cover every style of cooking and every dietary preference. So if you're looking maybe to do a little Mexican, a little Italian, a little Chinese, maybe a little bit of foreign food, then you might want to check there because you'll find some great recipes. Literally, you can spend hours on this website, guys.
Next, we have Good and Cheap. Hope actually has a copy of this book. It has a free PDF of a cookbook, the one that she was just showing. They offer that free, and Hope highly recommends that. There's a link that goes directly to the download.
There, I feel like Carol Merrill. All right, so this cookbook I have used a lot. It is not specifically a vegan cookbook. So if you're looking for inexpensive recipes and you eat maybe meat or dairy, there are a lot of vegan recipes in here, but it also contains meat and dairy. This is a great cookbook, guys. I highly recommend it.
And the free PDF download is offered by the author of the title of the book, Eat Well on $4 a Day.
Isn't that awesome?
Good and cheap.
It's called Eat Well on $4 a Day, good and cheap. The cookbook author did not want any royalties from it. She wanted to make sure that it was freely available. So the PDF is on the website. Once again, guys, we're going to leave links to all 3 of those websites in the description of this video. Now, if you want to see what all of these tips we just gave you, it's like, what does it look like in practical life? What does it look like at Hope and Larry's house to be using all of these tips? Well, we did a 4-week grocery challenge in February where we showed you how we fed our family for $50 a week. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We did it for 4 weeks. There are all kinds of recipes. There are menu plans. I'm going to leave a link to that playlist right over there. And if you've not seen it or you missed some of those episodes, you're going to want to pick those up and watch them next.
Look, Magicycle. That's my new e-bike. It's cool. It's really cool. And they gave me this hat. A free hat, man. Oh my gosh.